Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Projection Room. I'm Jack.
I'm Gaz.
Welcome back everybody. In today's episode, starting off quite sombre really. Date of recording, 16th September. One of our favourite actors, Robert Redford, sadly passed away at the age of 89. It always sucks, but as I said in the last episode, death comes to everybody. Sad piece of news this afternoon. But we'll have a brief chat about his career, what he achieved during his lifetime. Do you have anything to say about that, Gaz?
Pretty much what you said. He's one of the staple figures of how cinema is today, creating Sundance. Been in some of the most iconic films of all time. His contribution to cinema will never be forgotten, and I hope he's rested easy now. It's really sad news to see today. It hit a nerve.
Yeah. So yes, we've got a nice little tribute for Robert Redford coming up very, very shortly. In today's episode, try and boost up the morale a bit. We're going for trailers that ruined the film or spoilt the film, that showed too much, because I got quite a few. So here we'll be going through that, and also scenes that ruined good films or TV shows. Yeah, so it doesn't. I mean, some of the picks that I have, they're not like perfect films, so they're ones that I like, and I'm sure it's the same with you that you like. But then there's one scene or a couple of scenes that stand out, and you think, oh, that was a bit crap, or
you could have considered them a great movie, but there might be one or two scenes where just like it made you drop your score slightly, or just made your opinion change on the film or something along those lines. Yeah,
there's one in particular, like literally like that. It dropped my score by one. But jumping straight into it then, I think you got a nice piece of an article regarding Robert Redford.
Yeah, this is courtesy of Deadline. I read it beforehand, and I think it's a really nice piece. I won't read it word for word. I'll just sort of give it the main points as to what goes over his career, what he's achieved, and why I would consider him one of the greatest actors of our generation, of all time. Yeah, the article's courtesy of Deadline. It says Robert Redford passed away on September 16th, 2025 at his home at Sundance in the mountains of Utah, the place he loves, surrounded by those he loved. He'll be missed greatly. Born in 1936, he studied American Academy of Dramatic Arts, made his Broadway debut in 1959's Tall Story. He then appeared in another one called The High Tree. His massive breakthrough was George Roy Hill's semi-criminal film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which is one of my favourite movies of all time. He then went on to become one of the most enduring figures of New York's Hollywood period, with leading roles in classic movies of All the President's Men, 3 Days of the Condor, The Sting, The Great Gatsby, and Sidney Pollack's Out of Africa. He made his directorial debut in 1980 with Ordinary People, based on a novel of the same name. It starred Donald Sutherland, Mary Tyler Moore, George Hirsch, Timothy Hutton, and he won 4 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Picture. He then directed a film in 1988 called The Milagro Beanfield War, again another adaptation of a novel, and the film won Academy Award for Best Score. The biggest thing I think from Robert Redford, in 1981, he had an eye on the limits of contemporary film landscape. The veteran performer launched the Sundance Institute on a plot of land he purchased years before in the Utah mountains. The first edition served as a lab for 17 independent filmmakers to develop their original projects in the company of such advisors as Pollack and Waldo Saltz. Gregory Nava's El Norte was the first lab supported film to be produced. And Thomas won Best Screenplay Oscar for that film, which then kickstarted in 1985. The Sundance Institute assumed control, and the US festival renamed it the Sundance Film Festival and expanded into the 2-week event we know today. High-profile filmmakers who passed through the Sundance labs or competition strands include Steven Soderbergh, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, Paul Thomas Anderson, and Kevin Smith. Films developed at Sundance over the years include Kimberly Peirce's groundbreaking Boys Don't Cry, Erie's Pariah, and Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. That's one for you. They made a statement saying, "We are deeply saddened by the loss of our founder and friend Robert Redford." The Sundance Institute said today in a statement, Bob's vision of a space and platform for independent voices launched a movement that over 4 decades later has inspired generations of artists and redefined cinema in the US and around the world. Beyond his enormous contributions to culture at large, we will miss his generosity, clarity of purpose, curiosity, rebellious spirit, and his love for the creative process. We're humbled to be among the stewards of his remarkable legacy, which will continue to guide the Institute in preparatory. In 2016, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama during the presentation ceremony. And Obama said about Redford, he captivated audiences from both sides of the camera through entertaining motion pictures, often explored vital society, political and historical themes. Obama continued, his art and activism continues to shape our nation's cultural heritage, inspiring millions to laugh, cry, think, and change. From our perspective, he's been heavily involved in our love for film and opens our eyes to political movies. His adventurous ones, like say Butch Cassidy, The Sting. Those two movies are probably some of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah.
And also, he played a magnificent, probably one of the best MCU villains in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Fantastic. He was, I think his stamp on the Hollywood and film industry, it's just one that it's engraved in time now. So his dedication, his love for it, it's a sad day. It's a sad day for Hollywood, sad day for film.
Yeah. So what you say, I think he was very versatile, and whatever he was in, it would elevate the film massively.
Yeah.
Like I watched The Natural with him in baseball, and obviously being British, baseball season, so round here.
It is,
got no interest in baseball, but like watching him in that, he was very versatile in whatever he was in. Half the stuff like that I see on my watch list when I can see that he's in it, I'm like, I will watch that because
as well, one quick note, like say, whether the film's been great or not very good. The film Spy Game with him and Brad Pitt. Not the greatest movie in the world, but it's a decent film. But he goes toe to toe in terms of performance with Brad Pitt. Late 90s, early 2000s was peak Brad Pitt. The fact that he, it can level his performance and magnitude, just shows his capability as an actor, and also his knowledge and his history of being in the film for so long. He's just such an incredible actor. He's one of the reasons, maybe not modern cinema nowadays, but if I see a film that I see Robert Redford attached to, like whether it be on our watch list, going back in time, like some looking to the older films, if I see that he's in it, it makes me want to watch it because I just know he's that versatile. Yeah, he's very, very, not afraid to shy away from the political side of things. There's Lions for Lambs, it's a very anti-war movie, but his performance in that was excellent. So yeah, very, very sad day for cinema. I hope he, like I said, I hope he rests easy now.
Yep, rest in peace, Robert Redford. So yes, moving along, I try and get build that energy up, have a good episode today. Trailers that ruined or spoilt the film.
Spoil the film, yeah. Lift the mood up. Let's talk about movies that ruined everything.
Yeah,
specifically trailers.
Yeah, so funny enough, I think we've definitely got the same pick for one of them, so I might as well just jump straight into that one. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, 2016. Going into it, I remember you was really, really hyped for it. We went to the midnight screening with our friend James, and I think I was a bit more cautious about it. I know you was very, very hyped.
Yeah,
bit of tunnel vision maybe. But regarding the trailer, correct me if I'm wrong, I know they released a few, obviously showing what the film is going to be about, whatever. But I think then the final trailer, that's when they literally just busted the load. Like, I know that's a bit graphic, but literally it's like, here you are, everything you need to know, it's right here. And you sat there thinking, well, I know exactly. If you've read a comic book where you know the lore of Superman, you know exactly what is going to happen. Lo and behold, it did happen. Yeah,
so unfortunately, tunnel vision's probably the right word. Back in the day, who wouldn't get excited to see two of your favourite characters go toe-to-toe on the big screen? It was my most anticipated movie for that year. Fortunately, afterwards left it a bit very, very flat. I am one of those who says, yes, the theatrical version isn't the best, but I am a massive fan of the extended cut, whatever you want to call it. The extra footage, it fills the gaps and it makes it for a better, story-wise, a lot better, palatable film and enjoyable. But in terms of the trailer, the first few I thought wasn't too bad. It gave me the, pumped us up, do you bleed, you will, them staring off. And, it was really great, builds up the anticipation, the style that Zack Snyder was going for. That was all you needed to do, and that final trailer, I think it was about 6 weeks before the film came out, and it gave away the entire third act. And like you say, if you've read a comic book, you know what's going to happen after that. So I think it's fair to say, Jack, it's full spoilers. You know, the movie's been out for nearly 10 years now.
Yeah.
You know, next year will be his 10th year anniversary. So all these films, we all talk spoilers. So, you know, you have been warned. Yeah, the final act of the film is that trailer. It reveals Doomsday, which was really frustrating. And then
as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think. I mean, if we're sticking in terms of the trailer, it blatantly shows the team up after their fight, and it also gave the full reveal of Wonder Woman. Yes, we saw Gal Gadot in earlier trailers, but it never specified. I mean, we all probably knew that she was going to be Wonder Woman. It was announced that she was Wonder Woman, but we only saw her not as Wonder Woman. We only saw her as Diana. So at the end of the trailer, when you see them all teaming up at the end, you have a really, really cool shot. And so that was problem number one. And then when Lex says Doomsday, and we see him for the first time, you know, initially, I was like, oh God, I'm sick. This is going to be awesome. And then, but if they just kept it a secret and just let people be surprised by it, you know, it would have helped the movie so much better. But I think the fact that you go into it and you sort of know what's going to happen, even halfway through the film, you know, when Lex is going into the spaceship and you see like Jen conforming his blood to the you know, Zod's blood, you kind of knew what his plan was, which was really frustrating. I think if they kept it separate, you know, and leave it out to the trailer and gone into it, it would have. Yeah, I'm not saying the audiences are stupid. You know, if you've read a comic in your life, you know, you probably could figure it out. But it would have kept you, you know, on your toes throughout the movie. It would have kept you entertained, kept you guessing a little bit. Showing Wonder Woman's surprise entrance to block Doomsday's laser was a two-pronged, like, what the, moment. It just completely spoils the moment. You know, she saves Batman as well, shows everyone, and she goes, oh, yeah, by the way, Doomsday's in it, so clearly they'll be teaming up after it. So that, the trailer completely spoils the third act.
Yeah, and I mean, 2 points. Like, first point, I know DC at the time, they definitely wanted to play catch up to Marvel, so they literally was like, right, here's, like, what can we do? Batman v Superman, Doomsday, Wonder Woman, let's go. Yeah. Let's just breeze through this storyline where Superman dies. And, you know, like, they didn't want to build it up with that over like the course of 1, 2, 3 films, whatever. Yeah, I think that pissed people off. Particularly one YouTuber I watch called Angry Joe. I love Angry Joe. Yeah, he's a massive Superman fan, so he was so pissed off about that. Yeah, they wanted to play catch up, and like I say, they just went off way too soon. But my second point that concerned me a bit is like, well, it's Batman v Superman. You shouldn't have to show too much to get people's asses on the seats.
Exactly.
Like, all you have to do is just a little teaser. If they had just done one teaser, you know, like, do you bleed? You will. Whatever. Yeah. And just left it at that until release day.
Oh, you've got it?
Yeah, that'd have been spicy. You know, I mean, it probably would have been a letdown, like what unfolded. But in terms of like the trailer that like we're talking about today, you know, that would have been perfect. Probably one of the best trailers like they could have ever done.
100%. And to add on to that, the whole point of trailers is to get bums on seats. You know, you can reveal a little bit of story. That's not an issue. You know, you want to entice the audience where you want to show a bit of action. I mean, that second trailer they showed where it shows the reasons why Bruce and Batman want to go after Superman. You know, you see his perspective of the destruction of Metropolis after the fight in Man of Steel. And you're like, yeah, okay, I get his side of things. And then Superman's story in that is, in terms of why he wants to go for Batman, it just kind of helped just to push the story to where he wanted to go, basically. Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll use that. Relatively wise, but then, like I say, the extended cut actually fills, you know, some of the gaps in terms of the storyline, how it intertwines with Lois, etc. So
Martha,
and you know, that's a different subject for a different day. I'm a defender of that bit. So yeah, we'll go into that a different day. But yeah, but you've got. All you need to do is set up your story as to why these two characters are going to, you know, come together, and show a couple of action sequences, show us, you know, some bits to entice us to get, you know, show us a shot of Diana, whatever. That was it. And like you said, the title, you know, that teaser, you've got people on seats, you've got people on there. You know what I mean? You don't need to show your entire third act. You don't need to reveal the main villain. You know, it's a shame, really, that. I mean, this might be, you know, going off theme. I have another pick on here which sort of adds on to this particular point. But Yeah, it's a shame. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say the movie was amazing. Like, the trailer ruined it. It kind of did actually kind of does reveal the entire third act, but it just feels like you should have played it a bit more. You trust your audience a bit more.
Yeah.
You didn't have to give too much away for us. You already got us with that teaser. Yeah, a shame. Great movie though.
Well,
Extended cut.
But I think I just want and done with it, to be honest. So I've just got no interest in watching it again. But that'll be a topic for another day anyway. So that was both our pick.
Yeah, I'll jump into my one. My second pick is, believe it or not, Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Now, I didn't know this, so I don't remember watching many trailers for this one as we were growing up, because, as I say, we saw the first one. This wasn't a time where YouTube was like a main thing, was it? It was, if you had a computer, you might have been on there, but TV spots were, 30 seconds long. Like, we saw teasers for it on the TV, and saw posters for it. And growing up, we didn't have to see the trailers. We knew, because we loved the first one, and like our mum that told us that it's our one of three. We were there, as kids. Watching the trailer, the second trailer in particular, it reveals Gandalf returning from the dead, basically. And a bit of backstory for people who, for some reason, have never watched it. Yeah, Gandalf's confrontation with the Balrog in the Fellowship of the Ring. He makes a brave sacrifice and encourages the other to leave him as he, clung to the edge of that broken bridge. So when Gandalf plummeted to his supposed death, like, the audiences could feel Frodo's pain in that slow motion scream, and the music afterwards, his grief, throughout the rest of the Fellowship. People who hadn't read the books, they believed that Gandalf was dead, including us. We thought Gandalf was gone, which has kids really upset us. In the trailer for the sequel, The Two Towers, specifically like I just said, the trailer number 2, it shows Gandalf, alive and well, and it just shows him, returning in Fangorn Forest, and he says, "I'll come back to you now at the turn of the tide." And then there's scenes with him with King Theoden, riding down the hill in the Battle for Helm's Deep. And when you look back at it, man, early 2000s trailers, they give away so much. And, again, it would have been one of those, similar to, like we just mentioned, the third act, Man v Superman. If you kept Gandalf's, turn a secret, it would have, like, pumped people, or audience members up when they're back at the cinema. Like, I can imagine people screenings, like, people screaming, happy he's back.
Yeah.
But, nowadays, you consider this a major spoiler for a trailer. I was really shocked to see how much he's actually in that trailer.
Yeah, funny enough, I did actually see the trailer. I watched it, and it's just like, oh, he's there. It's like, oh,
yeah,
that's a bit of
a...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Funny enough, for my second pick is something similar. It's not as good as The Two Towers, but it's Kingsman: Golden Circle. That's the sequel to the first one. Again, you mentioned spoilers already. So in the first one, Colin Firth's character Harry Hartman gets killed in the church. Probably the best scene of the film.
It's fast.
Yeah, fucking brilliant. And then, surprisingly, he gets killed. You're like, oh shit, damn, that was brutal. Cool. And then, the second trailer comes out. It's got all these stars in: Julianne Moore, Channing Tatum, Jeff Bridges, Pedro Pascal, loads of people, And then, at the end, there he is. Colin Firth is having a shave. And you're like,
with his eye patch.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, didn't he die? And, it's like, okay, why would they do that? I'm sure if they just kept that under wraps and then you're watching it, they'd have people wouldn't have had a problem with it, and the, like you said, the reaction would have been like way better. But, I don't know why they do it for. It's like they've got no trust in what they're producing or what they're making.
Yeah. It's, something
the first one, sorry, was such a success as well. It was like a surprise hit.
It was a success, and I am I'm a fan of the first one. I think it's a really fun action spy flick. And I remember seeing that trailer, and I was almost one of them thinking, Colin Farrell, getting killed off after that badass action sequence, like you just said, to then shockingly kill him off. I was quite gutted, because, to be honest, he was kind of the reason I was watching it. Who doesn't love Colin Firth? He's a British icon. So yeah, when I saw that trailer and he was just casually having a shave with his eye patch on, I was thinking, huh? Yeah, like how, how, why, and when?
Yes.
I mean, the reasons behind it is a bit sapped, but yeah, again, I mean, it's not, you don't blame directors, actors, writers. They have nothing to do with the marketing side of things. Why the studios decide to put things in like that when they know full well that audience members will be, they don't want to, we don't want to see that. We just want to see the basis of what your film is about. And why to entice people or audience members back in by, showing a bit of Colin Firth having a shave, and then also, like, they don't trust, like, the actors who are in it. Like, we need a standout actor to come in. I mean, like you say, Taron Egerton, Pedro Pascal. You know, it was a stacked cast. You know, Mark Strong. You know, you got the people in that you need already. You know, but why they decide to reveal that much of him in it? It was the complete. And like you said, a complete and utter mistrust of the audience. They don't, but you know, thinking that the cast isn't enough to get you into the theatre. The cinema.
And the theatre. Yes,
the theatre.
Yeah, like I say, considering how the first one was a hit as well. You know, people more than likely will go and see the second one. Yeah, no, Matthew Vaughn, the director, was properly against it. He was like begging them. He was like, please do not like show Colin Firth in the trailers and that. But they gave him one of these, I think. Yeah,
it's not only that, they're probably, again, it's a shame for Matthew Vaughn, because if he's created something and he doesn't want his story to be spoilt in a trailer, yeah, I feel for him, because, you know, it's not easy making a movie and people behind it put that much effort in, but then for people in the marketing side of things to then ruin your movie by throwing it in, it's quite disgusting, really, you know. Yeah, I can understand. You don't need, there was no reason to put Colin Farrell in. Like, you could have surprised audience members. What did I say?
Farrell.
Sorry, I was thinking the Emmys the other night. Sorry, he popped up. Sorry. It's a shame, and I feel for Matthew Vaughn, but to be fair, I don't think he was paid off. I think they were just basically saying, it's the studio, it's our movie, we're marketing it, we can do what we want,
he's
basically.
Paying for it.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's not returning. He didn't return to the prequel, I believe. I think that was somebody else. So this is why directors don't trust big studios nowadays, because they don't want their film spoilt in any way. You know, they just want all we want from trailers nowadays. And I think we'll talk at the end of this segment, but I'll leave that. Sorry, I'll leave it for then. But yeah, I feel for Matthew Vaughn. I feel for filmmakers when studios do that.
Yeah,
but you know what though? Unfortunately, the movie wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still a little bit entertaining. It was entertaining.
Yeah, it's done fun, but yeah, didn't they go downhill from the first one? I don't know really, but
yeah.
But yes, what's your third choice?
So mine's actually one that came out this year, and I have very strong feelings on this. My pick is Captain America: Brave New World. Believe it or not, the marketing campaign solely relied on showcasing Red Hulk as the main villain. I honestly think if they had left it out, it would have been a much more impactful reveal. The little details throughout the film with the leader coming back and being made prisoner by Ross, making Ross pills by letting him, do his own thing, make experiments, etc., leaving him to it. But as long as he's making those pills for him, containing his anger, in the sub or the meeting, when he's like crushing the pipe, or you can see like the veins and he's like starting to get warm. All those tiny details, sprinkled throughout the film. And by the end, where he's having that, when he's giving that speech, and then he turns into the Red Hulk, how brilliant would that would have been if it wasn't in the trailer? I mean, again, you would have had crumbs throughout the film, but then to actually have the reveal, I could imagine, the cinema, people in the screenings, going, screaming, having that sort of end game level type reaction, But it wasn't used. But the fact that it was used as a marketing campaign was really, and a promotional tool, was really, really frustrating. I really think Marvel missed out on a great reveal there, an opportunity to really hype the back of post Endgame as well.
Again, it's like what I said. It's they don't have any belief in their film that they're putting out. And in that film they have 3 villains. They got Harrison Ford's Red Hulk. They got Giancarlo Esposito. And they also had the leader. 3 villains. So for a trailer, talking as if I'd know what I'm on about, I don't. But surely
you've seen over 2,500 odd films. I'd like to think something.
Yeah. So surely for a trailer, it's got to be, like you said, intriguing. But you can also misdirect as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So in the trailer, maybe they could have amplified Giancarlo and the leader. Show them a lot more, and then when you come to watch the film, it's total misdirect, and you think I wasn't expecting this, and then by the end, like you say, you got the Red Hulk smashing down bloody Washington DC.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, this is incredible. But, instead you're like, right, I've sat here, when's Hulk coming? When I know this scene isn't yet because it's not in the trailer. Well, it's in the trailer, so here I am waiting for that big fight at the end, and just for him to get talked down, which wasn't earned. But anyway,
it's frustrating because I feel for, in a way, I feel for Anthony Mackie, believe it or not. I really do. That was his first film where he was the lead. He's finally got his Captain America movie, and yet they didn't trust him enough to sell the movie. Yeah, and then having to use Harrison Ford as promotional tool to get people bums on seats. It's unfortunate for him, and but maybe like you say, maybe they didn't trust. I can't remember, Esposito's villain's name. They didn't trust that side of the story. They didn't trust. I mean, in fairness, they kept the leader quiet in the trailers. Like, I believe. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. He wasn't in any of the trailers, was he? Leader. I don't remember seeing him. Could have been implied. It could have been implied because when we saw Ross in the trailer, you kind of think, okay, this is sort of like a Hulk sequel of the Hulk. Which effectively I think it was pretty much was really. But it was just a shame that they missed an opportunity to, have that sort of nice surprise factor in the theatre. What do you mean saying theatre?
I know you're proper posh today, aren't you?
I know.
You're not posh.
I know, yeah.
What is muck?
In the cinema, sorry. But instead, you say you're sort of counting down, like when he's, when, like I mentioned, when Ross is in a submarine and he's like, and he's really losing his temper and he's like going, like trying to breathe, and you can see like the like bits, his veins starting to pop, but you're just all going, he's going to turn Red Hulk in a minute.
Yeah.
And you're not no tension. There's no question questioning whether or not he's going to turn.
Yeah.
No intrigue. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. It was a bit of it was a shame. It annoys me because to be honest, I was that first trailer I was sold because it gave me Winter Soldier vibes, and the movie unfortunately didn't turn out Winter Soldier esque. But it gave you the sort of spy nuanced thriller again that we've sort of missed from the MCU for a while. And then that very last shot of him like grabbing the shield and throwing it down, and you thought, oh, is that Red Hulk? And the next thing you know, the next trailer is him smashing through the White House and doing his infamous roar, and they show a lot more of him and like smashing the helicopter and etc. And it's just like, really? Yeah. Would have been cool. I mean, there was a plot with the adamantium, from the Celestial, and that would have been a great, like you say, misdirect. You could have easily made it like there's a war for that, and you think, oh, brilliant, this is going to be great. Yeah. And yet the fact that we just thrown Red Hulk into it at the end, it was just so disappointing. And also the trust in the audience, the trust in the film, trust in Anthony Mackie, and thinking that these villains weren't going to be good enough to carry the movie and to get people on seats. And so let's just market the villain. It's so frustrating. It was so annoying. I was really wound up by the trailers in this film. It's like, I get it, Red Hulk's in your movie, and next thing you know, he's on the posters. Yep. And you're like, oh, Jesus, all right now, like there's no hiding, no secret now. So when you're sitting in there, you literally are just sitting waiting for the Red Hulk to turn up. Yeah, and what pisses really me off even more is that they actually haven't actually got the Hulk to fight Red Hulk, which is even more annoying. Yeah,
but it's stupid as well, because they could have easily just have kept him under wraps, because surely Harrison Ford, 83, 84 years old, is he going to be fucking bred up for the next 5-10 years? No, he isn't. No. So they might as well just kept it under wraps, Have Harrison Ford in there, as Everett Ross, and think, oh yeah, obviously had to replace him because William Hurt sadly passed away. So, okay, that's cool, And then, like by the time, near the end, and he's fucking Red Hulk, then, fucking hell, that's sick.
Yeah. Your language is awful tonight, by the way.
I couldn't give a shit. But yeah, so, my third choice then is Castaway, Tom Hanks, 1990.
Yeah, I know which trailer you're on about, yeah.
Yeah, and again, obviously, this was one that I picked up a few years after I've watched the trailer, and it shows you, everything that not everything, sort of everything that happens, but then they literally say, we lost you for 4 years, we had a funeral for you, and, Tom Hanks was like, oh, who was in the coffin and all this stuff, and you're like, what? Well, what are you doing that for?
That's bad. That's bad.
It's literally I don't know, I don't understand why they do it for, because it's a 2.5 hour film anyway, so audiences are going to invest their time into it anyway, so why would they just, in the trailer, literally be like, he's in a plane crash, perhaps about 4 hours trying to survive, and then he gets rescued, and here you are, weird, strange choice. I don't know why they did that for, can't remember which company it is, but
it's directed by Robert Zemeckis, wasn't it?
Yeah, Zemeckis. Yeah, Forrest Gump.
I mean, how frustrating must have been for him. Unless I hope it wasn't his great. It wouldn't sound like somebody. I mean, he's one who likes to get people intrigued and get people be entertained on, get bums on seats. But I mean, again, most of these picks are creative choices from the studios and the marketing team. They obviously want to promote the movie, but let's reveal, major plots to get everything in. I mean, not every trade, not every company does it, not every movie has something spoiled. In a positive note, you look at the movie, Weapons this year, that trailer was sublime. It gave you the synopsis of the movie. Those kids running off into the dark and saying they were never seen again. That's it. like nothing else gets revealed. There's no, no spoilers, no, mystery, no little crumbs in the trailer to make you think like, oh, it could be this direction or it could be that direction. Could it be a kidnapping? Could it be this and that or whatever? And for Castaway, so to switch it back to Castaway, to actually reveal that he got off the island, but then we're going to show you how he got off the island and what he did, what he was up to. I mean, you could have easily had the interest, the mystique of, does he ever get off this island? You can see the plane crash in the trailer, him surviving on this island, and then it gives you the intrigue of, how the hell is he going to get off? Or is he going to get off? Or, it gives you a sort of good intrigue to see how his psychological state will change throughout the course of the film. It would have got people on seats, but to the fact that, to reveal that he actually got off the island in the trailer, it's a dumb choice.
Yeah,
really
it's strange.
Really
I don't
dumb.
know. Yeah, I don't know whether they were going for like the angle of like, oh, is he dreaming it, or he's hallucinating. They could have gone for that angle in the trailer, but I don't really know how they would do it. But they don't even need to do that. I don't know if even if they were going for that, it's risky. So in terms of that trailer, it's a strange one, and I think that's got to have affected the score, because like I actually really like Castaway, and because I hadn't watched the trailer, like just solely watching the film, I really, really like it. But I think, if you watch that at the cinema, or, whenever it was out, 2000s or something, I reckon people would have been frustrated and like, well, what's the point in that?
The contrast between Castaway is a film that just popped into my head. The film The Martian with Ridley Scott, like with Matt Damon.
Oh, yeah.
That film nails the trailer on perfectly. I mean, he's trapped on Mars and you see him survive, and like the elements and how he's going to make food and get water, etc. That intrigue alone was fascinating, but it never reveals in the trailer that he gets off.
Yeah,
I remember never seeing a trailer where it shows him trying to chase the ship, or in the trailer they're trying to say how are we going to get him home, and then you can see the intrigue of them trying to come up with ideas to get him off. But I don't remember in the trailer actually revealing that he got off. The contrast between trailers is quite bad, quite shockingly bad. It just shows a Ridley and the studio trust Ridley Scott and trust his movie to get people on seats. So thankfully, it's a really, really great, it's a great movie as well.
Oh yeah, brilliant. Love The Martian. Yeah.
So my pick is actually this one's very quick because I hate this movie, and I think I mentioned it in a previous episode. I'm going with Quarantine, the American remake of Wreck. So the trailer is the ending of the movie. So you see the SWAT team go into the apartment block. They go up to they find the camera. And then it literally, the last 2 minutes of the movie, where the woman comes out of the darkness screaming, the one woman who gets like stuck in that room, the really scary dangly lady.
Yeah.
And then you literally see the American version of that reporter. It's the final shot of the movie where she gets dragged into the darkness. That's the trailer. You literally just gave like the last few minutes of your movie.
So the protagonist is not surviving.
Yeah, you pretty much. I mean, people probably think that's a good teaser. I might see, but the fact that it was the final moments of the film.
Yeah, that's bollocks.
I don't know why people think that's a good idea, but and then when you're actually in the movie, you're watching it going, sure, that was in the trailer, and then you go and check it out afterwards, and you think they literally just gave away the final moments, and especially if you've seen the significantly a miles better Spanish version, you kind of know the ending. You go, they just gave away the ending.
Yeah,
but it's just stupid in marketing tool.
Really, that's probably why they did it. They had no faith in it. So, like, people who watch Wreck know the ending to that, where she's in that room with the I call her the spitter lady. She looks like the one from Left 4 Dead 2, doesn't she?
It's a good one. Though. Yeah.
Big dangly like woman. Yeah. So it's just like, oh, that was good enough in the Spanish one. Let's just do that. Why not? Yeah, because I'm sure like everything else in that film is dog shit. I mean, I haven't watched it, so
it's shocking. It's shockingly bad. It's an awful remake. It's an awful film, and I think I mentioned in the previous episode it amazingly got a sequel because it made money.
Oh yeah, God, let's not even bother with that. Yeah, I heard about that. He says with the rat infested like
infected people, mutated rat type thing. Yeah, just never watch it, people. Don't watch it.
So yeah, my final pick. Again, I would probably breeze over this one because I don't think I remember watching this trailer before the film came out. But Terminator Salvation.
Wow, yeah.
But I looked up on YouTube and Google, a lot of people saying like when Terminator Salvation was being released, people were genuinely like pissed off because they revealed that Sam Worthington's character Marcus Wright is a human/Terminator hybrid, and which totally just like destroys the intrigue or anything. Yeah.
Again, giving away plot twists, man, just to get people on seats.
Yeah.
No intrigue, no trust. It's so frustrating. Like, I mean, that would have been great. No, that would have been a really holy, moment. And it's why they think that it's a good idea to give away your plot twist in a trailer.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, because it's literally like filmed as if, well, obviously he's distraught because he genuinely thinks he's human.
Yeah.
And
impactful scene.
Yeah, like Sam Worthington actually acting, man, type bloody hell.
Ooh.
Well, no, I mean,
Are you not a fan of Sam Worthington, Jack?
no, that's a bit harsh. It's like I just know he's not the best actor going around. Like,
It's nice to know he turns up and acts for a change, isn't it? I can imagine that behind the scenes, yeah.
No, that sounded a bit bad. A bit worse
It's not like
I thought. I don't mind him, but yeah. But like, yeah, so, he's actually like showing like despair and everything in that. And it's just like thrown away in the trailer. But, oh, cool.
It is, yeah, a good emotional scene, and shows that, they're trying to have some humanity and thinking that he's part of it. And yeah, it's a great scene. And you know what? I'm going to put it out there now. That film's so underrated. I really enjoy that movie. I'd probably say it's this might be a hot take. I might put that behind the first two Terminators. First and second. I can alternate between the two, and then just have Salvation the third. I know it's not really much of a competition because the rest of it's dog shit, but they're
so bad. They're so bad. They're like Jurassic.
But Salvation did. Yeah, don't go on about Jurassic World. We've covered that enough.
No, they're the same. The rest of them are they're in that boundary. They're just that shit. But
No. I mean, the fact that film tried to do something different and actually have us in the post-apocalyptic wasteland and in that war against the Skynet, it was nice that they tried to do something different, and the fact that they sort of tried to go roles reversed on the Terminator, actually thinking he's a human, like, instead of Arnie's character being like trying to kill someone or protect somebody, the guy thinks he's human. The robot thinks it's a great little twist on the tale of like all the previous movies tried to do, and yet the fact you give away your plot twist in the trailer, man, again. Theme for this episode so far is trust, and studios clearly do not trust their movies, to make money, and especially on an IP of Terminator, who has loyal fans. Like, fans are stick up for like Terminator 3, and there's some, I was gonna say weirdos, but ones I strongly disagree with, like, who stick up for like Terminator Genesis. There's some die-hard fans out there that would stick up for it, and you're gonna get bums on seats. Terminator, of course, you're gonna get people there. Why give away your plot twist in the trailer? It's just ridiculous. It really is. And like you say, it ruins that scene, because when the scene actually happens, you go, yeah, he's a robot. Yeah. Yep. You're waiting for it. Again, it just ruins the theatre experience. Theatre, man. It ruins the cinema. It ruins the cinema experience. It really, it's frustrating. It's nice to go into a film without knowing that you can sort of put two and two together in the space of 5 minutes, and you think, oh yeah, that movie's in trailer. You want the intrigue. You want the questions unfold on the screen. You don't want to go, I'm waiting for him to then realise that he's actually a T-1000. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crap. It ruins it. I think the Hollywood needs to wake up and realise that people aren't stupid. Give us intrigue. You give us your teaser. Give us your story. Let us know who's in it. Give us a catchy tagline if you want to. And just trust your audience. Trust your audience to come in and sit on these films, because people will. Weapons is a prime example this year, and that's one I'm going to use a lot. A $38 million budget, and it's made over 300 million, and that trailer gave away nothing. Trust your audience.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Yeah.
Quarter Gen. Came out last year. Vastly overrated. I think it's slightly above average, and that's M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. I think, spoilers, Jack, because it's in the trailer. Gives it away. I think they did this as a marketing tool, and now people think, oh, that's very clever to reveal it. I'm actually one of those where thinking, do you know what? If you kept it quiet, the reveal halfway through your film would have been so much better. So in the trailer, he takes his daughter to a concert. They're saying that this serial killer is going to be here. How they going? Okay, whatever. Go with the flow. And yet you think, how suspenseful would it have been if, like, they're looking over their shoulder throughout the whole film and, like, not trusting the people around them. And yet in the trailer, it reveals that he's the serial killer. So it's actually the roles are switched, where you're now watching him trying. It's sort of like, the video game Hitman. He's trying to, whether he's trying to pretend to be a security guard or member of the staff on the concession stands. it's him trying to act this cat and mouse game against the police and the FBI or whoever surrounded the building.
Oh yeah, I remember
whilst
seeing
trying to
this trailer now. Sorry. Yeah, Trapped. Yeah, Josh
Yeah.
Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett, yeah. The reveal. I strongly think the reveal of him being the killer halfway through would have been so much better had they not revealed that in the trailer. And that might be a hot take for people, but I think nowadays we're so eaten over the head with like plots and storylines and trailer. And like I just said, I sound like a right hypocrite. Yeah, give us a bit of your story, but you've had it right there. You could have said there's a serial killer who's apparently coming to this concert, and this father and daughter relationship. Sorry. It's a bit hit and miss. They're trying to build, their relationship, whatever. How great would it have been for him to be looking over his shoulder throughout the movie, not trusting it, but like a psychological, thriller, thinking I cannot trust the people around me because that bloke or that person could be the killer because they never find out what gender, whatever gender they want to be. They don't know what the killer is, woman, fridge, whatever. They don't know anything about it. They just know that how they kill and that they just know that they're going to be there, and it could be anybody. I think they missed a trick there, and I think the reveal halfway through, people would have gone, crap, he's the killer. Like, it would have been a lot more impactful. So when I saw the trailer and then watching the movie, I'm just like, and they're going, oh my god, did you hear who's going to be here? And you're like, and he's there. Josh Hartnett's like, oh god, yeah, we'll be okay, etc., etc. And you're actually thinking, you're the killer. It wasn't as exciting, and him trying to avoid the cops and everything, and it wasn't exciting. I didn't find it exciting. Some people might find it exciting, but I didn't. I think it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I remember that trailer now where he's like doing the awkward smile and the laugh when that guy's like talking.
Yeah. And I'm not knocking Josh Hartnett in it. He's really good in the film. In fact, there were quite a few people in the film that are good performance-wise. But I think that story element, the first hour of the film is fantastic. The second half really drops down in quality for me. So yeah, it really was. I mean, I took my fiance to see that. We both were intrigued by that trailer. So we saw a couple of films together last year, and every time we went, we saw that trailer, and it just piqued our interest. So when we actually went to see it, we left quite deflated. But I think maybe that trailer played a part, knowing the full well that we know that he's the killer, and it just wasn't as exciting. But a lot of people loved it, which is fair enough. Like, if you enjoy it, fantastic and pleased with it. But for me, I think they just a missed opportunity with that. Yeah,
it does sound it. Yeah. So my last pick, please through this one, because this one, it's a bit strange, and I'd like to hear your opinions on it. So I've got Cabin in the Woods, Chris Hemsworth's character. So this is a strange one. Yeah, this is a strange one because I don't really know how to word it, because the bits in the trailer, it shows Chris Hemsworth on a motorbike leaping over somewhere, and then it cuts away. Yeah, so you don't know what's going to happen. But then when you're watching the film, you realise there's a massive dome. Or like a barrier that will kill them. Yeah. The drive, go past it, whatever. So it's a strange one, really. It's like in the trailer, it looks like a cool shot. But then by the time it's revealed in the film, and I want to say it's revealed about half an hour in, 35 minutes in.
Yes, yeah, say around that 45-minute mark, yeah. Halfway through, basically, yeah.
Yeah, so I remember seeing this with our uncle during the preview thing that got cancelled many times. Yeah, I remember watching that, and when we saw him get on that motorbike, we looked at each other and we just went,
yeah.
Ain't happening. He's a goner. So it's a weird one, that is. So it's like, yeah, it was a cool trailer, cool shot, whatever, but did that ruin the film? You know what I mean?
There's an element to that, yeah, because that, I mean, if it cuts across, I mean, part of me is a bit thinking, is it a spoiler because you actually don't see him get killed in the trailer? Like, if you saw him smash against the dome, then I would have said, yeah, but I think it does give an inclination that something was going to happen. So, yeah, I'd class that as a spoiler. Yeah, I think they would spoil it, but I think part of it would think, weird that is. That's a 50-50 because, because you think if you're watching a horror and he gets on and he's making a jump, you think the intrigue's there, but then when you actually watch the film, he gets killed. It's like, I'm a bit in the middle with that as well. I mean, it's kind of a spoiler, but it doesn't actually reveal him getting killed.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I'm in between. It's done quite tastefully, really, because, it doesn't reveal anything in the trailer. So, as far as you're aware, he's on a motorbike, he's just gliding off, whatever. But then it's done its job because people are in the seats then anyway. So they revealed, if it's revealed 25, halfway, whatever, that there is this dome that's going to kill you if you go past it. They've already done their job, haven't they? They've got people in the seats, and then people will, like ourselves, figure it out. He's going to die if he gets on that bike. I thought that would be an interesting one. It's like in between. You have to let us know what you think on that one. Whether you'd class that as did it ruin the film for you, the trailer, or was you alright with it?
I mean, I remember seeing that trailer before we saw that preview screening because that's one of the reasons I piqued our interest. But I've got to be honest, at the time, I wouldn't say that spoiled it for me. It's only until we realised he freaking smashes into that bloody dome and
Yeah.
he kind of died. But yeah. No, that's an interesting pick. That is. I mean, like I say, I think I'm in the middle of that. Yeah. I think if you're a horror fan and you're watching enough horror films, you know if someone's going to leap over something, you know it's probably not going to end up well.
No, those are interesting, good choices. I think the message is just don't be a dickhead in your trailers. You know, we don't want to see too much. You know,
studio, we trust your audience. You know, we want to go and see your movie. Just give us a bit of story. Let us know who's in it. Yeah, give us a tease. Give us, you know, no need to spoil your film. I think the message is trust your audience, man.
Exactly, yeah. So, moving along to our last thing of this episode, scenes that ruined good films or TV shows. There's one in your case, which I think we're going to last. So, shall I go for my choice first?
Yeah.
So, the one I have is The Dark Knight Rises, Talia al Ghul's death, performance, and Bane's death as well. The performance from Marion Cotillard, I think. Butchered her name. Even she said, like, that scene, she doesn't know why she did it, or she wished she had done it again. Because literally, I think if I acted now, if you played like Commissioner Gordon or Batman, and I played Talia al Ghul, I could probably be on par at least. Because it's literally like she just, you know, like when you're playing on the playground and you get shot, and like, you know, your character's like, oh, you know, I always loved you. That's it. It's literally it. Like,
I always cringe at that death because she literally goes.
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
Yeah,
stupid. Yeah.
When that took me out of the film, and I watched it again like years back. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" So that is just...
to go off the Dark Knight Rises. My main issue with that was the fact that she was the mastermind behind it. That's what really turned me off.
Yeah, she's the real one behind.
Yeah,
like,
isn't Bane
daughter. Bane's like a chess piece sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, what annoyed me as well is, like I say, the first half of your film, you've set up Bane to be this absolute badass, like villain who can, you know, breaks the bat, and yet it turns out he's just a little pawn just because he loves Ra's al Ghul's daughter. Don't get me wrong, as a comic fan, it's nice to see an interpretation of Talia al Ghul, but this one wasn't brilliantly executed. But mind you, a lot of that movie doesn't make a lot of sense, and I'm gonna say I love Batman, but. Yeah, there's a few couple of things there. I mean, a lot of people get turned off by the fact that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's what's his called?
He's supposed to be Robin.
Yeah, you should stick to the original name, Robin. I mean, it's the final moments of the film, but people are like, oh, and the fact that Batman lives, you know, at the end of his self-sacrifice, you know, I think that turns a lot of people off, especially after Michael Caine's like his speech at the end. He goes, "You trusted me and I failed you," breaking down on his grave. You know, it's so really good. Just to realise he's having a nice drink with, and he's got Selena Kyle in his arm with him. So I think that annoys a lot of people as well. But I mean, there's a couple of reasons. I mean, that was the one that triggers you the most, like the death. Like, then fair enough.
But it was also Bane's death as well. I thought that was really bad.
That's the one that throws me off of that film. Yeah, that's awful. His death sucks.
He gets shot by Catwoman on her boat, doesn't he? And he goes flying back into the wall or something. And
that's it.
Yeah, I was like, where's Bane?
Well, if you remember, we saw that. Was it opening day or the day after? We went to an early showing, and when that happened, you and I looked at each other going, "That's how he died." Because you never see him again. So you think, afterwards, you're like, really? What's the need of Kyle as well? There's no interaction. Like, okay, there's a pawn earlier on in the movie, but it's like, really, she's the one to get the final blow. I would have loved to have seen like Gordon or some of the cops around him. You know, it shows the story come full circle.
Glory sort of shit, man. Yeah, great. Yeah, it's literally like, you know, the power levels in that film. You know, Bane gives it as good as he gets, and then Batman gives it him as good as he gets, and then, you know, it's just like, well, you can obviously take a punch and you can take a lot of damage, and then for him to see it shot like that, and they didn't shoot like, I'm not obviously, well, I am sort of criticising Christopher Nolan in a way, but I don't think it showed like the proper damage or you know, anything like that. It was just a case of him getting shot and then hitting his head or something. They'd have shown him like getting shot, and you know, he just looks down and he just sees red, or you know, anything like that. I'd have been like, you know, fair
if you're gonna kill him off, one of my initial death scenes for him would have been his vision. You know, the thing that he needs to clip his mask in. You know, that runs out, or someone unplugs it, or you know, he can't put it back, and he's sort of like internally stuck. You know, or at least keep him alive, or have an impactful scene of like Batman trying to save him or something. You know, instead they just and decides to go getting shot and never get back up again. So my pick is, you might think this is so random and so out of left field. Regina George's death in Mean Girls. She really need to die at the end of the film. Yeah, it was such a weird like exclamation mark at the end of it. It just feels so. It's hit by a bus, but she lives, and then I think she just dies later on. I watched it not too long ago for the first time, and I can't remember exactly how she dies, but I just remember like just really took me out of it, like because I used the quote "actions have consequences," and I felt like they did her perfectly with her arc, and it gives a good message to people that bullying to her extent is not okay, but then just to kill her off just felt totally out of place. She was disregarded, she was disgraced by Lindsay Lohan, and with good reason. But did she really deserve to die? She gets hit by a bus, and then just a double whammy. I'll kill you. It's like, hang on, whoa, is this supposed to be like a coming of age teen comedy? And now all of a sudden you're killing off your antagonist. I thought it was just a bit over the top. I didn't think he needed to die. She could have had the story arc of she gets hit by the bus. She sort of realizes that, like quote you used that quote often, like life is precious, and maybe might change her mentality, thinking, what am I really doing? Is it really worth it? Is it really worth causing this trouble to all these people, trying to achieve perfection? But yet, it said, no, I'll just kill you off. It's like, just felt totally out of place.
Yeah, so I just had to look at it, because I remember her getting hit by the bus, and then didn't they just say it, and that's how Georgina, what's her name again? Something, that's how she died.
Regina George.
Regina, that's how Regina Georgia died or something. Yeah, it is,
so random.
Yeah, it is very random.
But the thing is, that I had that movie. So I had that movie at a 9 out of 10 because I really was surprised with how much I was enjoying it. It's really funny. It's really nice messages behind it. The performances are really good. Yeah, I was really feeling the vibe. And then that happened, and I was a bit like sat back in the seat. I was a bit like, oh,
yeah.
Just totally felt really random. I felt for story-wise just really out of place. So I bumped it down to an 8, unfortunately. But I wanted to give it a 9, but that death really was so out of left field and totally unearned and undeserved. She was a horrible person, but freaking kill her off, I think was a bit extreme.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Yeah, I didn't even think of that one. Well, I have got for my second choice is The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. Got any chips? And I could have anything in my trousers.
Can I just say that the Got Any Chips was that in Unexpected Journey?
Well, there could have been one or two. They're in the head. No. There could have been. I remember the Smaug one that I could have anything in my trousers. That one's definitely in.
And then she goes, well, nothing. And then shuts the door. Yeah, the gate. Yeah,
it's like, oh God, come on, what is this? Like, did I put the wrong fucking Hobbit film in or something, man? Like, just so out of left field and just so like modern. That was the problem I think I had with it. It's like so modern, Yeah. It's not what you watch The Hobbit, like Lord of the Rings, like prequel sort of thing. You don't want to be hearing like sex references, jokes, and
and for your comedy, comedy to be modern jokes, it's a bit out of take you out of it.
Yeah, it was, and like that, Have You Got Any Chips? I mean, that one's not as bad, but it's still just like...
I think that one's worse.
Yeah.
Have they got any chips? It's just like, it sounds like someone from around you.
Yeah, it's a good point, Yeah, I remember that. Our dad hated that. I remember him saying like, oh God, why? Why didn't that? I think it was just to serve a joke, isn't it? Because they get all like healthy food and that. And it's like, you got any chips?
It's a good joke in terms of showing how like healthy the elves are and how greedy and how their diet's not very good for the dwarves. But to say, have they got any chips? Like the comedy was there. Like you got who's my favorite one again? McTavish, Graham McTavish's character.
Yeah,
Barlin. No,
Barlin. Yeah, it's Barlin, isn't he?
Yeah, and he lifts the lesson. Like, that joke that we got the joke then, but then to say have they got any chips? Yeah, that was a bit like, oh God, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, mind you, would you try and hit on Evangeline Lilly?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like in terms of the Hobbit films, like that scene, it was proper like out of left field. I was like, is he on about his dick? Yeah, it's like what?
Mind you, that whole love story was shoehorned in. That's probably the worst thing that they could have done.
Yeah,
and it didn't pay off very well. Mind you, it was a good line in Battle of the Five Armies. Is this what love hurt feels like? And he's like, yeah. painful. It's like, it's
Yeah.
a bit rough, you know.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's it. Why does it hurt so much? Because it was real. I thought, oh, that's a quite
Yeah.
good line actually. But yeah, it was that whole storyline. That side story was a bit not the best. If they would have cut it out, we would not have missed it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it's just the comedy elements that doesn't work in a fantastical, especially Middle Earth as well. I mean, it's quite serious. That's good. It's a good pick. Now, to throw mine off, to go completely out of left field, you probably enjoyed this one. So I have the sequel, The Mummy Returns. So I am one of those where I am a bit of a defender. I know it's a bad movie, but I cannot help but be entertained by that film. I think it's so goddamn fun. Chase sequence, in the mansion, the fight scene there, to the chase sequence on the bus where you got the fast looking mummies chasing them in London, and then you have like the jungle with all these kid mummies, and then you have the big balloon where like Imhotep's like watery, like he rises the river to like chase them, and then all entertaining, and then there finally comes the pyramids of the Scorpion King, and we get that monstrosity of CGI Dwayne Johnson. Just completely,
the mummy, Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, completely throws me off. It's so bad. I watched the scene before we recorded. It is so bad.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible. Yeah,
awful. And I'm thinking the fight. It sets up quite a good finale. You got the Brendan Fraser's character, Rick O'Connell, again got Imhotep, and then you see the reveal of the Scorpion King coming out, and you're just like, oh my god, what have they done? It's so bad.
It's terrible. Yeah.
It is awful. I've seen PS2 graphics better than that. It's so bad. But
you have the sequel to that one, Mummy?
That was The Mummy Returns. Yeah.
God, what's
It's so poorly rendered CG on. It's an abomination, man. It's so bad.
I remember thinking that bad.
But no, I was the same. Like even as kids, we watched it, and then I remember we were watching it, and I can remember sitting there going, "My God!" Well, we were like, "What is that?" Like as kids, even we knew that was bad. But I can't help but be entertained by it. But to ruin your movie, like I mean, I'm not saying this is an amazing movie. I have a soft spot for this sequel.
It's like a guilty pleasure, then.
It is a guilty pleasure, but then that final, the whole fight scene is just so bad. It's so cringy. And Rick O'Connell, even his line, "Go to hell and take your friends with you." It's just so like.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of my picks. Like, it's just watching that scene earlier, I couldn't help but keep cringing. And you think throughout the whole film, people can argue some of the bits, like you got these little baby mummies that are like little raptors in the long grass field, pulling down like.
It's starting to come back to me now. Yeah.
Yeah, like you got you could easily tell me that those CGI were freaking terrible, but I think that they were not. I think most of the budget probably was spent on that and Imhotep's bloody river face trying to chase him in the balloon scene. Like, just for what have we got left? Just shove it on the rock and the Scorpion King, and it just comes out so bad. It's awful. Yeah. Even the CGI at the start of the film with the Anubis, it's all really bad. Like with those like Anubis looking things. You have that battle. You have to rewatch it, man.
Yeah.
So like you have Jonathan, like his character, like, and they're going to have that fight with all the Anubis. He tries to raise the army.
I think so.
You have to watch. Yeah, I remember because I literally watched like the clip beforehand, and it jogged my memory. And they got to have the battle. Even the Anubis, I think that was so badly rendered. So yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I do remember, like I say, even when we was younger, it was like, wow, this looks terrible. My pick then, it is a popular film. I know you love it. I love it as well. Psycho.
Okay, let's see where you go with this.
So this is what I mentioned earlier about it almost being a 10 out of 10 film. The only reason why it gets knocked down to a 9 is because of that ending where the doctor literally explains why Norman is who he is. I know the reasoning why, because back in the 60s, it would have been confusing. What the hell's he doing? Why is he doing that for? So I know the reason why for audiences back then who maybe didn't understand the motives or the reasoning, mental health issues side behind it. So they need the doctor to sort of speak to you, like the audience. Like, Norman's he's not very well, basically. He's like totally tapped in the head. He's playing his mom. He thinks he's his mom, blah, blah, blah. We all know the story. But yeah, I think that literally, it's like 2-3 minute thing. They cut that out and then have the transition like from the car sinking where it turns into Norman's face. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I think just for that reason, like it gets pushed down to a 9.
So exposition is the
Yeah, just
reason why you bumped it down.
exposition. Yeah, just exposition.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's a tricky
think,
one though,
yeah.
really, because like I say, it's for audiences in the 60s who maybe wouldn't have been used to this sort of film. You know, serial killer who's his mom and like all that psychological issues and everything behind it. They might not have been used to it, sort of thing. I don't know, but that's my take.
Hey, I mean, fair enough. If it's your opinion, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's harsh to say one of the reasons why you bump it down to a 9. And like you say, for nowadays, like especially watching that film growing, like I say growing, I didn't watch it when I was like 8. I think I watched it when I was like 15, 16. In fact, no, the first time I watched it was in music in school. Anyway,
yeah, I watched that school.
Yeah, to get the violin, and you had to like, whoops, and then you had to like recreate it or something like that. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway, yeah, I find that I find a hard pill to swallow because I think for what he did to explain the psychosis and the psychological aspect of Norman's head and how tapping into the relationship with his mother and thinking he's his mother because you know he's basically a schizophrenic, and like you say, no, in those days they didn't know what a schizophrenic was.
Yeah,
Schizophrenic? No, schizophrenic. Is it bipolar? Split personalities.
yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
so they've never heard of any of those things back in the day, and I think if they didn't give it an explanation back in the day, I think people would have just probably not have been creeped out by it. But the fact that this person can have another person's mind in his head who think he's this person, I think that terrifies people.
Yeah.
I find that. I mean, if you find an exposition like to explain it, I can't help but disagree with it. I think that's quite harsh.
But I mean, if they did, I mean, I watch films like now, like thrillers and crimes and loads of stuff, and sometimes I finish it and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't get it, you know, I don't really understand like the full motives behind it, but I still wouldn't appreciate, you know, at the end, like, you know, the guy's like, well, whatever, he did this because of this and that, blah, 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 you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it does take away from it. So I think even if it is the 60s and it is a masterpiece, so don't get me wrong, everything about that film I love.
Superb.
Just apart from that one bit where it's like spoon feeding the audience, you know, it's like there's still stuff today that I don't understand. Or but you know, there's loads of films out there where like people on YouTube will explain like, or you know, there's some theories, you know, sometimes you don't get an answer, stuff like that. It adds to it. But
I think how disappointing would it have been though if it wasn't explained and people came out of that thinking the weird dude dressed as his mom because he's got mommy issues or something. But the fact that it's actually a person can have that type of psychological or, you know, mentally like broken down in their head thinking they're his mom, that would be terrifying for audiences back in those days.
Yeah.
You know, like I would have been, I mean, if I found out that the whole film, like it's just a guy dressed up as his mom, I'd be like, as a killer, I'd be like, really? That's a bit naff. Whereas Hitchcock decided to go, no, actually, this is a real person who's suffering real mental issues. You could be living next to one and you don't know about it. I mean, that would freak people out. So the fact that he explained the disorder at the end of it, I think it's genius. And then it cuts to like Norman and just like looking at the cat. Oh, frick, just creepy, man. Just so good. Fair. I mean, if you find that the exposition, you know, a bit, you know, takes it out of it for you, I mean, fair enough. But man, I just can't help but think now, man. I think that's excellent.
But I'd have to see, because I mean, I got the 4K version and they don't have an alternate thing. I'd like to watch a cut where it's like the film with it in and then one without it in, and then maybe I could sit here and be like, oh, actually, it could have done with like the exposition. Or if it doesn't do anything, then you know, whatever. But
I mean, sometimes, I mean, back in those days, there wasn't. I mean, if there was some things were left to interpretation, but I think Hitchcock wanted to push the barrier, you know, the barriers of filmmaking, and say to people that you could be living next to a person with this disorder and you just simply don't know it. They could be acting normal, but you don't know what's going on in their head. Like he literally freaked the nation out from that movie and having that in their head. You know, I think that's testament to his ability, but you know, it's for a different day. So, yeah, that's a really interesting pick. That is. I mean, it's one I don't agree with, but man, that's. You know, I'll be interested to see if anyone agrees with you. So, you know, if people understand where Jack's coming from or agrees with him, let us know. I mean, and if you don't, then let Jack know. I mean, rinse him. Yeah, do what you got to do. Wow.
Yeah. So what's your last one then?
So mine's TV. A bit of a backstory. Believe it or not, I was a defender of this, and it's amazing how time's a healer, and you see the truth. So
And
I'm going
verbal
with
abuse. Sorry.
and verbal abuse and arguments with Jack and some friends outside of Jack, like friends from work and friends of mine. I'm going with Game of Thrones season 8, episode 3, The Long Night. How to ruin what could have been the best series of television. I would have put it up there with Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Spartacus. That's just for me. The Shield, those type of shows for me. Sons of Anarchy would have been up on those pedestal, up in that category.
Yeah, definitely.
But the Long Night completely ruined everything. What Game of Thrones, the build up was shockingly disappointing.
Too dark.
Too dark. I mean, I had to adjust my TV screen brightness to actually see what was going on. That's not a joke. I'm not joining the trend. That was back in the day. I had to do that. But there was a few, the Dothraki, the whole thing without running into battle, not knowing, the stupid military tactics of the battlefield, and then run into the dark, man. Brave warriors, everything with that. Sorry, I let everything along with that. That wasn't my main issue. My main point was one of many issues. The total stupid story and decisions of to save the women and children. Let's take them into the crypt but we got this guy who can actually resurrect the dead. But let's just stick him in a crypt. It'll be fine.
You got Tyrion, who's a smart bloke, and he doesn't.
How to ruin a character.
Yeah, they ruined all the characters.
The first 4 seasons, he was probably one of the greatest TV characters I've ever seen. He was up there with Walter White for me. Smart, witty, tragic backstory. I mean, I'm reading the books at the minute, and some of the things that you had to endure growing up, like in the book, like gives a lot more context. It's just, and yet you make him the last season 7 started to make him a bit stupid. I mean, a lot of people argue that season 5 is when his character started to get poorly written, but season 7, was the real side of it where I started to see it, and then season 8, I just thought, hang on. Yeah, I mean, I gave it a bit of expense because I think maybe I was blinkered as well because I was hyped for the last season, hoping it would be good. I mean, I was concerned that there was only 6 episodes, but it just shows. I mean,
Benny and Boys.
What else was there? I think yeah. Oh yeah, they wanted to. I mean, to be fair, we can do a whole other episode on Game of Thrones and the downfall of it. We really could, and we should. The main issue for me, one of the reasons, is Arya Stark getting the final kill on the Night King.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense for a story. It's shit. It should have been Jon. I mean, there's nobody else. The story was built up for 4 freaking seasons.
Yeah, just shoehorned last minute. The red, what's the name again? The Red Woman.
The Red Woman, yes.
Yes, she literally just called a throwback at Arya's eyes,
blue eyes, yeah.
Blue eyes, all that bollocks. Yeah, you're like, oh god, here we go, what they're doing. Yeah, and then you have the infamous last shot. As soon as that knife went in, the Night King, I was out the door anyway. Literally, I watched it with Sam, and when that happened, I was like, I ain't interested no more.
Yeah, it completely ruined everything. It ruined it for everybody. I mean, at the time, I will hold my hands up. I am afraid to shy away from it because I know if we put this on TikTok or anything like that, I'm worried for the backlash. I was actually a defender of it. And
you were?
I can't fathom myself, Jack. I can't understand why I was defending it so much. I mean, I just, you see the lie eventually, you see reason, and just think story-wise, it made no sense. She didn't deserve to give Night King the final blow, and for a Night King for all these creeps to let her out just because she had trained from assassins. By the way, she's a shit assassin.
Yeah,
bollocks. Sure. Shit, stupid.
And that storyline went absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. That story. Yeah, it did. That went nowhere. But I just couldn't fathom the fact that I'm annoyed it was never Jon. He should have got the final. He should have had the final conflict with the Night King.
Yeah, literally, like Jon's character, man. If you watch it all again, he literally does not serve a purpose because he starts at the wall, ends at the wall, doesn't do anything, doesn't achieve anything really.
Yeah. One true heir
kills the Mad Queen, which was shoehorned in again. Yeah. Well, not really. Well, that was. I mean, it's always hinted at in the books and stuff that she goes mad. But in the terms of the show, literally, last couple of seasons, that's where she starts to get a bit loopy in the head.
Yeah, loopy, not listening to her advisors or anything like that.
And then she goes absolutely fucking batshit, even though she loves everybody. She'll do it. She will try her best for everybody.
She was the slave freer. She was no slave city marines and marine and everything. It's just, but in particular, I mean, I say episode 3 because I think that's where it started to go downhill. That episode 4, 5, and 6 afterwards were just complete and utter shambles.
But for me, where I first started to see the cracks for me is the episode after they all go beyond the wall, where you had John the Hound and all those lot, like a proper core group, like badasses, and you think, oh man, this is going to be sweet. But then that episode after that one, I think that's where by the end of it, I was like, oh man, I didn't like that one.
Yeah,
and I should have done.
I mean, I wasn't a massive hater of season 7. I think there was a lot of story elements that didn't make sense. My issue was that we could all of a sudden fast travel in Westeros.
Yeah,
Where whereas some episodes, someone says like let's say they're going from Winterfell down to the Freys, or they're going to Riverrun. You wouldn't see them for a couple of episodes because they have to make the journey, and there are some episodes they're still traveling to where they get to go, and it's like all of a sudden season 7, everyone could just fast travel from one place to the other. I mean, the was it Gretchen? Who's the one who's Robert Redford's bastard, the swordsmith character? The fact that he leaves him in that episode to go back to Eastmarch, which is a couple of days ride, and next thing you know, in the very next episode, he's there. It's like all of a sudden he just got there very quickly. It's just like there was no reason behind it. It was like, he wasn't on a horse because he was running. He wasn't on any horseback or anything. He's running back to Eastmarch in the freezing cold in the north, and he gets back there unscathed with no explanation. Yeah, we can do a whole episode of Game of Thrones and the complete downfall of it all. But it's in terms of this one, my pick was that episode because I think that's where it started. There were so many stupid decisions. So many character decisions, story-wise. Jaime and Brienne, they should have died. They should have been killed, but their relationship was sort of, had a bit of a stumble because she slept with him, and all of a sudden he disappeared. In the next episode, he goes back to Cersei for whatever stupid freaking reason. Realised that actually I don't like you. I like you. It's not like my sister or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just stupid writing.
So that was one of my problems with that episode. There was no stakes.
Plot armor saved everybody.
Yeah. Oh god, the amount of times you see people, especially Brienne of Tarth, where she's absolutely destroyed. She's got so many of them on her, and you're like, well, she's dead. If this was Game of Thrones season 1, 2, 3, 4, she's fucking dead. She's gone.
Well, yeah, you had Jaime there. You had Samwell Tarly. You had Brienne.
It's demolished as well. Sam Tarly. Sorry.
And they get back to a wall, and there's hundreds of them. And how they're fighting them off, it just doesn't make any sense. So
stupid, man.
This is why I picked episode 3, because this was just completely right in common sense. It just completely went out the road, and plot armor took over. Unnecessary people got the unnecessary kills. Like I say, Theon Greyjoy, fair enough. His death was noble. His arc came full circle. But really, you're gonna run to the freaking Night King with a freaking spear, mate? It's just there were better ways. If he died defending Bran, like what we're getting outnumbered by night walkers or whatever, I would have understood. It's the fact that, and also I think Bran knew that he was going to do it. He was just
Bran's a fucking waste of space, man.
Yeah, no.
The whole, we'll have to get into an episode.
I was going to say, because we'll spend 10 minutes talking about it.
Yeah.
This is why I picked it. Because it's not only does it the whole reason why the rest of the season failed. Because like I say, the first 2 episodes were a good build up for the fights. I'm not going to take that away from it, but I think the fact that this ruined Game of Thrones for a lot of people. I know people say season 7 was the star. Like you just mentioned, there were cracks, but I would still think the season 7's a decent season. I'm saying it's great, it's not the best, but it's decent. But season 8 is where it just completely, we could have had Game of Thrones as one of the best TV shows of all time in that argument. And unfortunately now I wouldn't even consider it, and it's a shame because I think the first 4 seasons are some of the best TV and some of the best writing we've seen in a TV show. Those first 4 seasons are on level with everything else. It's just unfortunate after that. I mean, season 6 is great. I'm not going to say that there's 4 or 5 episodes of season 6, which I think is just peak. But
it just shows how it totally just revealed that Benioff and Wise were hacks, because they literally had the content, the books in front of them, and all they had to do was just. It must, all right, hacks. Well, they are hacks, but it's difficult. It must be difficult to get a book into a script and into a show. Not knocking them for that; they did an excellent job. But then when all the source material is gone, they're like, now what?
But to add on to that, despite the fact they caught up to the books, they had notes of George R.R. Martin. They had notes. He told them story elements that he's implemented into the books. So they had stuff to work with.
Yeah,
and they chose not to.
Yeah, it's annoying as well. You see, behind the scenes stuff, they're literally just like, we wanted a zombie polar bear. We've been wanting one for years. So then when we actually got one, we were so excited. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Yeah, you're spewing so much shit out your mouth. You know what I mean? So, God, don't get me started.
It's like, I mean, also the fact, sorry, last thing, also the fact that the Dothraki get absolutely demolished in seconds, they cease to exist, and in the final episode, who's there running around celebrating Daenerys' rise to the reign of the throne?
Yeah,
All the Dothraki soldiers, they're all of a
episode, they're
sudden
all there.
alive.
Yeah,
They're all alive. Stupid. You
And
know,
the Starbucks coffee.
Starbucks coffee. The infamous Starbucks coffee. I wonder what she had. I'd ask her that. You know, if I ever met her, I was like, what did you have?
Yeah.
You know, just flat white, latte,
Was it worth it?
Americano. Was it worth it? Did it keep you awake? Yeah, anyway. Yeah, it's a shame. Well, yeah, see, this is why I picked it, because I know it gets a discussion going, man. There's so many things we could talk about in terms of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It put me off though. I didn't watch House of Dragon.
You need to watch House of Dragon. It redeems it, because there's new writers. George R. R. Martin's heavily involved, although apparently there's been a bit of issues with certain elements, story elements from the book. But apparently it's all going ahead, like they discuss what they're doing. It is solid. It does remind me back to the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, where writing and scheming and double crossing, shoving pieces of the puzzle of the chest are put into place, ready, setting up things. It's how the first 4 Game of Thrones seasons were. They are definitely worth the watch. You would really enjoy them.
All right, yeah, I have to put on that.
And then I'm going to reread the section of the book, because season 3 is just going to be chaos, man. It's going to be so great, So we'll leave it there. But yeah,
yeah. Let us know what trailers spoiled films for you, and what movie scenes totally took you out of the film, or could have ruined it for you as well.
Know your thoughts on Game of Thrones, and did it ruin you? Did it take you? Did it?
It ruined me.
Mentally scar you like it did a lot of people. And let us know your favorite Robert Redford films as well.
Yeah.
And I think the final note is to say, rest in peace, Robert Redford.
So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Take care.